So C9 are going to first pick Leona for it.
And I think it's great that both of them are focusing on the bottom lane, because that is going to be one of the biggest determining factors for these two teams. You mentioned Hans. This man has been playing out of his mind. I think best player on this team so far performing in group stage. Going to be very big for bottom side control of the map. But here we go with the early Ryze.
Interesting early Ryze denial if they do decide to lock it in, to deny it from Perkz, who's got 2 Ryze games. Obviously, he was split pushing a lot against FPX. You know, they could have won the game perhaps, but a lot of happy little accidents is what we'll call it. The thing is, Ryze is a short range mid lane mage, of course, and it's very strong over side lanes. The problem is he could struggle against champs like Syndra if Perkz does choose to do so because of the range difference. Now, jungle is another big point to look at. Things like Xin Zhao, we've seen Blaber's Qiyana, we've seen Inspired's Qiyana.
But you know,
is that locked in? That's locked in, baby!
All right, now there's one champion. It's the Blaber's, you know, whatever about anybody else. That's Hansama Draven. That is an OG Hansama special since the Challenger series. This man is known for this pick, and it is especially powerful and ban-worthy in the meta. This is going to be big for C9. They have to weather the storm.
And I wonder if they're going to third pick Braum if this MF gets locked in, Kobe.
Yeah, it's really good at denying the ultimate. Obviously, Unbreakable is so strong at countering. And plus, when you go in on the Leona, you know, you have stand aside on Draven, Braum jumps in, puts up the wall. It's just very good at setting up for these early executions to get the cash in for Draven already. I am scared.
Yeah, especially when, oh, that's a Graves as well, so it gives a lot of value to the Braum pick, especially when Leona dives in. The Braum can block the MF damage while you target Leona, of course, right? So it's really good against these Aftershock supports. Or do they want to match with some kind of jungler here or a solo laner, maybe odoamne's Rumble, maybe Inspired? Nope, it's going to be Braum.
And on the side for Cloud9, that means that it's easy for Rogue now to throw multiple bans at Perkz to try and protect the early Ryze pick.
Yep.
They know that Perkz is going to go for some sort of big AP, you know, mid lane carry here for Cloud9, since it's already, you know, Graves lock in here, very heavy in AD. And there's not as many great APs for Blaber to play, especially with his champion pool. You definitely think of him much more on these AD junglers early priority.
Yeah, definitely agree. I'm looking at champs like, LeBlanc. I was also thinking champs like Zoe, right? You're playing Draven, Ryze, Braum, not that much engaged, more side lane, short range champions. Things like Zoe could do a lot of damage against those champs, Syndra as well. So we'll have to see what Perkz does opt into.
I wonder too, yeah, if he eats another ban here for mid lane, do they actually pull something as deep as the Cassiopeia out into the Ryze? Fairly old, but also has decent play into Draven.
And I think when you have a Cassio and a Graves on the same composition, what initially looked like a very scary first trio from Rogue can be heavily mitigated. Smokescreen is super, super oppressive. The miasma is super oppressive. You would be matching close range firepower with close range firepower. But do they go for opting to outrange? The Syndra, one of those longer range champions. Zoe, what Caedrel highlighted earlier, I think still something worth considering, because maybe you just never need to get in touching distance of this Rogue composition.
Meanwhile, Rogue, they're probably looking to go one of two directions. Either invest more into some split pushing power or find some hard engage for themselves. Because Braum is great defensively and very strong for team fights, but not great for the initial engagement, you know, trying to actually get initiative when you want to start one of those fights out.
Yeah, and I really wonder what Odo will go for, because now Rumble's taken away. I think the best jungle pick now for Rogue is probably something along the lines of Xin Zhao that pairs well with the Ryze, good setup, and best skirmishing jungler available right now. You have to argue with Lee Sin down, and Jarvan just kind of covering the misfortune.
Plus, it's so good at creating space. One of the reasons why Xin has not fallen out of the meta, even with the slight nerfs to the early game, is the ultimate that you can create so much space for.
Okay.
This is a much more offensive look.
Oh yeah, definitely. I thought Xin Zhao Braum would be a good pairing together with the Draven Ryze. It's all short range and buys a lot of time, but no, let's throw some kind of wild card in it with the Qiyana, which has so much burst damage that can catch anyone else.
Plus, it's a really good denial for Blaber. Cloud9 have clearly invested a lot of time, at least in scrims, in the Qiyana jungle, combinations for Blaber. So stealing that one away from him.
Uh-oh, there was an Olaf hover. Maybe we get an Olaf, but if this Irelia does get locked in, we need AP junglers, and there's a Lillia picked up for Blaber. So they're running double 80 solo laners. Blaber is the only AP damage left on the team, and now it's up to odoamne what he wants to counterpick these solo lanes with.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting here for Lillia. I'm not quite a big fan of the current state of the champion. I know Freak is super enamored with it, but
Malphite! Malphite!
It does have more sustain now through the jungle, a bit more clear as well. Let's see what the final lock-in on the top side though with the Gwen. This is one of my personal favorites right now with, you know, how popular Misfortune has gotten. It just feels so nice to have any frontliner to be able to avoid the big ultimates. It makes you move so much more freely through some of the team fights.
Absolutely, and I think when you look at it between the Gwen and the Braum, it's going to be so hard for Zven to find that really clean setup. The good news is, we got to mention this combo every time there's a sleep in the game, sleep, MF ult. There is a world where Cloud9 can set up this combo, can remove a lot of that interactivity, but generally, outside of surviving the bot lane, outside of weathering the storm of this Hansama Draven with these new ult buffs, I'm looking at the top side of the map. This is going to be explosive.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Irelia pick into mid lane and towards the Ryze, because that one as well, if I'm a jungler, your eyes just get real big when you see volatile lanes like this with a melee matchup in mid lane where Irelia does rely on kill pressure, but the Ryze can set them up as well early on. So oftentimes it is going to be about who controls their vision around mid lane better, keeps the supports out of the equation, and can get those early ganks off. Yeah, definitely. If you're looking at both comps, mid lane is definitely the point of contention for both these teams. Junglers are going to focus mid, and then if you look at side lanes, C9 should have top push. Graves into Gwen, early top push, but Rogue should have bot push. So both these sides collapsing towards mid could be very important to give vision or to provide some assistance in these setups.
Absolutely. And remember, this is not a calm week 1 game. This is not either of these teams feeling each other out. This is not the fun.
This is must win!
This is do or die. For remember, Rogue, if they lose here, they might still have another chance. It's going to be a difficult road and it takes some crazy results to happen. But Cloud9, you lose, you are out of contention.
It's that simple. Deep breaths all around here, everybody. Breathe it in. Nice calm opening to the game.
The calm.
Oh, the Lillia's rolling with Conqueror. Blaber went with Conqueror. I've seen Lilia's go Predator and Phase Rush, but he's actually going for the Conqueror. Maybe it's because Rogue have 3 melee champs. He thinks he can proc it the short range. Oh no, Blaber. We've seen him die level 1. Earlier in this tournament.
Come on, man.
It was.
We have seen that. That's true.
It wasn't against. I think it was against Damwon when he died level 1 and then his top lane was really struggling.
The problem is you make it sound like it's a regular occurrence when you say things like that. Like, oh, it's the iconic level 1 Blaber death.
It's just he doesn't even know. You know, Pepe Laugh. He doesn't even know there's 5 people just standing right there.
This is a player that really values entertainment value. Okay, you know, there's a lot of high points you build to these crescendos in the game very early on. You know, is he going to die at level 1? Is he going to die at the second crab, the first crab? You know,
just keep checking the boxes.
All I'll say is we had a nice long discussion about Olaf Brain, and I just want to see how Lillia Brain stacks up to Olaf Brain. That's my big question, because I see the high highs, the dreams of multi-target sleeps. You know, you've got these kind of tank burning damage and sustain package, and maybe, a cheeky level 1.
But look at Rogue as well. They have a level 1. Draven Braum level 1 is incredibly strong. Blaber gets spotted out on Raptor, so now they can move to red. The problem is, Blaber will be on Raptors in their eyes, but they're going to see him now. 2v3, level 1.
Braum passive, ludicrously oppressive in the first few levels, and Draven level 1 with Halo Blades also very, very strong. C9 smartly just going to walk away here.
A lot of times when you get invaded like this, you should, especially if you're a big AoE champ like Lillia, just immediately go for Raptors, try and get the level 2 advantage so you can punish them afterwards.
Come down to a smite battle. Perkz and Larssen.
Who's going to win this fight?
Irelia lost the stacks. Who got it? Blaber managed to get it. Trymbi's getting burned down. It's disastrous for Rogue. Now the flash forward for Perkz. Got the reset, the 2 stacks. Hansama flash out. Blaber's not done, baby. Proc that Conqueror. Spin it in. Coming in. Knocking down. Goodbye to the Draven. Hello, C9.
Okay, yeah, we have seen Blaber die at level 1 Caedrel. We have also seen them run away with it. This counter on the red buff here, it comes down to 61 health inside the brush, the early smite from Inspired. And these level 1 invades, they all depend on which jungler is getting the smite, getting the level 2.
Yeah, the thing is, it was a 50-50 because Rogue saw Blaber go to Raptors. Blaber was starting the Raptors on purpose to force Rogue to do the red. He got his passive stacked up, he ran down, won the 50-50. Now, Qiyana level 1 is terrible. The clear without a leash is awful. If we could put the camera on Inspired right now, he's almost dead, has no potions, and just has smite up, and he's level 2. Blaber ran through mid after doing red Raptors, and he's taking his top side. Inspired is going to be so far behind.
Yeah, I love how the observers overruled you, and they're like, well, guess what? The Qiyana's also losing the red quadrant of the jungle.
Sag.
Yeah, the Draven's also losing.
Look at his HP, he has no potions. Can he even do Grump? I'm not sure.
So this is a good time to talk about our first talking point supported by Graphical Aid. Blaber versus Inspired. Never mind. 5G Ultimate, we'll get there, Verizon, don't worry. But Blaber versus Inspired, these guys a bit all over the place across the group stage so far. But you can see that Blaber a little bit more active, Inspired a little bit more farm heavy. And sadly for Inspired, it seems like he's just going to have to be the one who's more farm heavy.
Sometimes it can be very frustrating as a jungler who's on the winning end of this because you are taking away all options from Inspired, but he can be forced into forced into ganks off
Wait,
the other
Blaber's dead. He's dead.
Oh my!
What's happened?
You called it. He's here for the drama. He's here for the entertainment. Blaber again, and he taketh away. Oh no!
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
At least he's changed up his arsenal
can't
from
even-
MSI, right? MSI was crap. Now we've seen level 1, red buff, and now top dive.
This is a very serious high stakes game.
I'm glad I'm here with you boys for this, but honestly, what are we watching?
He's gonna lose top crap as well.
Okay, so it kind of feels okay to laugh at because nobody got the kill gold, but in light of Inspired now catching up in the jungle, it doesn't feel as funny for Cloud9 fans.
It definitely feels good for Inspired, because I was about to bring up the point where you've already been denied 3 quadrants of the map. He's so far behind, and yet he has no health to do any camps except scuttle crabs. and he gets both.
Look at Odo. He got a lot of XP from that. Yes, he didn't get a kill, but he got the XP for the kill, I believe. So he's just naturally been given more XP in the top lane.
First, remember a big part of the win conditions here for Rogue are the scaling options. Ryze and Gwen scale like monsters. These AP threats for the side lanes. Gwen can also be a very effective team fighter later on too. So any help in scaling towards these champions definitely changes the way that we're looking at the early game.
And we've got this coming in from the Verizon 5G all chat. Mr. Sillyhead, fantastic name. Long have we waited. C903 looking faded. Group A overstated. Miracle Run activated.
I like it. Oh.
Blaber Tower Death also activated, but Perkz little outplays here is going to try to find something. Firing back though, passive fully stacked. Blaber in the area. Irelia with a deceptively large amount of sustain if you can get a few more Qs in here, but it's just going to be a trade back and forth for Poke. Blaber hovering around to make sure that they can't fully lose out here on the scope. Perkz playing with fire. What is happening? He's trading 1-for-1. Outplayed. Larssen now running away from the Lillia, but the Lillia's Prot Conqueror, and they're going to absolutely murder him. No, they're backing away from each other. What?
I, for one, am so surprised that the West didn't win any games yesterday with plays like this. Let's go. The kills traded back and forth at the tower.
I mean, the only real thing I can say behind that is maybe Perkz was trying to bait them into some kind of dive with his W, because he held it for so long, and then when they commit, they're TP behind both.
Behind. If Hansama gets a kill here, it's going to be big. He's got a few stacks under his belt. That's going to be looking for 3 and 4 on the concussive blow stacks. That should be Zven going down. Vulcan, there's nothing he can do on the Leona. Zven is going to now not make it out. Just barely. Vulcan now getting burned down, taking so much damage going down. And Hansama wants to trade 1 kill back. Hansama cashing in.
This is huge for Rogue, as we mentioned in the setup, as we refocus on some of the champion select and where they wanted to play the game from without all the craziness.
Yeah.
Remember the whole game plan for the Red Invade. This was all based off of Rogue trying to set up for bottom side focus. And with all this craziness, it's actually good that they have retained that focus. Okay, back to the Draven. Get some shutdowns here for Hans.
So let's go back to the mid play, because Perkz didn't have stun because he used it to peel onto Inspired. He Qs away, so now Blaber's running away. I think Larssen's waiting for his W and they want to crash the wave. But then Perkz goes back in here.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have his stun up just yet, I believe, but he has his W. So when Inspired goes in, he saves it for now. I wonder if he's trying to bait some kind of dive because Inspired has no flash. In the end, it's just a 1-for-1.
Yeah, and it is interesting, you know, the extra kill gold actually goes over to Blaber, so didn't go into the hands of Perkz, so not the worst thing there for him trading over.
Also, C9 still up in gold, 1k gold lead, and Blaber is still ahead in XP despite dying, and he's level 6.
Braum caught out. They can try to mitigate this stun, but there's just too many people there. Trymbi, you're in enemy territory, buddy. I know it looks like your jungle, but Cloud9 showing up and taking him out. Now Hansama is going to be in trouble because they can go for an easy dive here on the Draven. He has flash, he has cleanse, he's got stay in the side.
It's 4 versus 1. He needs to make sure this wave doesn't crash. He has to play aggressive in the 1v1 and hold the wave. If this goes under tower, Hans is dead. He has summoners for the outplay. Vulcan's tanking.
Anyway. Vulcan can now go forward. He can cleanse and try to flash his way out, but he's accepted his death. Zven going to grab that kill as well, moving for some tower plates too. This is disastrous for Rogue.
The other side of the map that Rogue now have the extra numbers on is topside, so Fudge has to know that he's the one under attack here. Larssen missing from mid. They have to assume that it's going to be a big dive.
No more. Fudge now running. Just flash. Ulti now coming out, flashing out. Smokescreen doing so much work there, mitigating a lot of the damage, but it's still an easy dive for Rogue.
Yeah, good cross map by Rogue, but it feels like C9 are the ones in the driver's seat. You can see Perkz running back out on the map. They should have the aggression down towards the bot side soon, because you can see the vision they already have is established, and Hans is behind on the Draven. A kill top is great for Rogue, but C9's main win condition is to shut down Hans on the Draven.
And I'm kind of revisiting the gold allocation where a lot of these early kills have gone. Since Blaber is the single AP threat for Cloud9, you know, a lot of the money being fed into him, it actually will do a decent amount for their team fight phase as well.
Yeah, look at this. C9 still have the vision towards the bot side. Perkz can just fast push mid waves and they can keep hovering down. So Hans, luckily he did save his summoners, but he might have to use them here.
Sama gonna have to run for the hills here. Sidestep and immediately gonna get locked up. Trymbi is gonna have to run. He's gonna hide in the bush, tail between his legs. Nothing he can do to save his AD carry. Cloud9 are merciless on the bottom side. You called it out, Kobe. They see it. You want to play through bottom, we're gonna throw all our advantages there to make sure it cannot happen.
And there's always a seesaw effect in League of Legends. When you commit 4 people down bottom, of course top side of the map has to be victories for Rogue. They have to trade the other objectives up there. So immediate start on the Rift Herald there from Inspired. They will pick that one up. It's still a super beneficial focus from Cloud9. Another successful play on bottom side means more turret plates for Zven, more jungle invades from Blaber.
And deja vu there as Trymbi walks past Blaber on the Wolves. Blaber's taken Inspired's bot side respawn 2 times now, so he's getting really far ahead. Will almost be 2 levels up, I think. Zven has gotten almost 4 plates in bot lane. Look at the cross-map trade. Rogue haven't even got at a single plate top. They've only killed Fudge once.
And the thing is, you have to be so scared already of the very fed Irelia and the very fed Lillia. Not a word I expected to be saying today, or phrase. But on top of that, Zven is also really far ahead of Hans, and if you ever misplay with Braum in a team fight, that ultimate is just going to shred through Rogue.
Definitely true, and I like how you brought up the synergies between the Lillia and Misfortune.
Odo? He has no flash.
Darkness.
They've got eyes on him.
Go for the auto. Can leap over the wall, but Perkz is in the area. Has already burned the W2. He's going to go to sleep. Good night, odoamne. Just going to get burned down. Rogue are falling apart. Cloud9 are just finding picks left and right.
Yeah, and I have to give massive credit to Perkz this game. He's practically everywhere. He's up 2 CS, yes, but he was diving bot twice, and now he's on the top side of the map. Him and Vulcan are just moving up and down the river so well, and him and Blaber have 100% kill participation.
Exactly, and I love the key point there because so many people, us including, love to meme on Blaber from some of the big plays of dying early or getting caught in jungle, but he also has those high highs. Very aggressive, following up on the early invade and the lead that he got. Definitely has had a very good direction for Cloud9 here, and they've snowballed that early lead with very big returns.
And I think it's so important when you outplay in the level 1, when you find those early advantages, that you make good on them, that you are the player to step up and carry your team, and Blaber is certainly in that position. 100% kill participation has been everywhere. And yes, people will look at the tower dive and meet him, but ultimately, as long as you win this game, people will look back at this and know that Blaber and Perkz together are the reason that Cloud9 came out on top.
Yeah, definitely. We saw Rogue try to hover around bot side there. Hans got 2 plates. They didn't opt to drop the Herald because they ran out of time. But they're finding resources in bots, but now C9 are back on the map. Perkz is coming back on the map. I think C9 are going to go back towards the bot side and keep playing down here.
One of the metrics as well that's incredibly important to try and judge teams by for can they make good comeback attempts here in the mid stages is vision, and Perkz walks right through it.
Larssen. Stun going to connect initially. Trymbi is in the area, but all of Cloud9 now collapsing. They have a man advantage. Trymbi has to flash for his life, but it looks like he's still going to go down. Can't even proc his own passive onto Perkz. Now pushing forward. Blaber in the area. Blaber no ulti up and available, but can go for the big play. Inspired now trying to find the disengage, but he's already used ultimate, and that just means they can keep the fight going. Cloud9, they're getting so much in exchange for so little. The stun, they want to keep it going. It's a party on the top side. Rogue, we're not a fan of this one. Some unwanted guests.
Yeah, we thought they'd go down towards the bot side, but this mid-jungle support duo of C9 is absolutely everywhere. Trymbi and Larssen were only 2-man. Maybe they're looking for a dive. They have no wave.
Sleepy but invisible. That's going to be big. Does manage to lock Inspired up for a brief moment, but can't really follow up there. Perkz now clearing the wave. They can reset for the tower dive. A bit difficult for Graves normally. odoamne now using the ult to try and clear, leaping forward. Trying to block as much as he can. Inspired again in the darkness, but he is going to fall, trying to get at least 1 kill back. In the meantime, Cloud9 get away with everything. Perkz blocking the last tower shot.
Gentlemen, you are witnessing domination from the side of Cloud9. This is patented map surfing, we like to call it. Plays on bottom side successful, plays in mid lane successful, chasing all the way up through top side as well. They have been running over this entire map, constantly forcing these plays. Proactive engages here following up once again. Blaber moving down to Zven to allow him to pick up the extra wave. In addition to all these kills, they've also been handling their side waves quite well. One thing worth mentioning there is Zven catching a lot of them. Misfortune Ultimate is such a good tool, yes, for team fights later, but also for getting, these 30-second windows where you can ult a wave bottom, move up to mid, catch that as well.
Absolutely. And Sama, who we expected to be this big focus point for Rogue, the one player who has shown through for Rogue in every single game, has not existed in this one.
Yeah, look at this. It's the mid support looking for a pick together. Inspired was clearing a camp up towards the top side or getting some deep vision for the team, and they're two-manning a play where Blaber and Vulcan are matching, so it's a 3v2 initially. Fudge has dropped top wave completely just to make sure he's here. He eat over the blue buff wall, and now there are 4-man units. Rogue are so split, and C9 just played this perfectly.
And look at the minimap, because all the kills on screen are one thing, but I want to refocus on their objective focus. That minimap has Zven rotating up from bottom side. He pushes that wave up into mid. He even got a turret plate while they're getting all of these kills, plus then the top side getting those bonus ones as well.
Yeah, and I'm glad you highlighted that, Kobe, because what C9 are doing is they're transitioning pressure so well. They have bot push, they invade bot, they get a pick. They translate that to mid push, then they translate both to top. Here goes Rogue.
Up. Fudge should be just stunned up here and taken down. Should be an easy kill pickup. Ulti coming across the backside. Can they give it to Draven? Waiting, but will not be able to give it over. Shutdown important there. Cloud9 on the opposite side will match the tower and a dragon of their own.
Definitely a good play there from Rogue. I thought Fudge was about to walk a little bit forward and hit over for the execute, but he critically does not. Definitely what Rogue want to do, though, trade different sides of the map. They're completely out-itemized right now because there's such a heavy gold lead. So that was basically best case scenario for them, getting the trade on towers plus a kill.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're behind, especially like 5k gold down almost, trading evenly is always good for the losing team, right? Rogue trade towers, they trade a kill for a dragon. So in the end, when it's a first dragon, we'll take those, right, Rogue? It's an even trade, but C9 needs to make sure they're forcing more. They need to play on more lanes. Now you'll see C9 play mid to top. They've got top tier 1 and mid tier 1 as their next point of contentions with this next Herald coming up, and that's where they're going to be focusing. Rogue will start to lose out on these cross maps the longer the game goes, though. An
incredible credit to C9 for having such a dominant early game from the level 1, punishing Rogue, transitioning that across the map, some incredible plays, and that's right. This is where we now evaluate them, because remember, while this is an elimination game, if C9 want to make it out, they have to keep winning, which means we need to not just see a good early game, we need to see a flawless mid game, we need to see a clean win. If they want to make it out of this group, if they want to contest FPX as the second seed.
Yeah, because usually when you see the team that has such a heavy lead in map control, they basically set up taxes for any sort of trades that go on. They're like, okay, fine. If you want to push on top tower, then we're going to get, bottom side as well as your whole jungle, as well as, possibly a dragon or objective or something like that. So when you can get those even ones, it's a very big one. You see C9 overloading on top side. Meanwhile, they already push on bottom side as well, so you don't get that, even throw back there from Rogue. Here's the sweep around, though.
You're completely right, though. Perkz pushed in bot, as we saw on screen, and he's moving mid now. C9 going aggressive.
Up, knocked down. Do they know the MF is coming? If he uses the W too soon, the MF now coming down. Can they make it out of this one? Blaber now stepping forward. Ulti is going to go in onto the Gwen. She should be all right. Healing up. Will be fine and walk away. Vulcan going down there in the end. Yeah, confusing play from C9, I have to admit. Maybe they didn't expect that many members of Rogue being there. They had the tower. All they had to do was push the wave in and go to Herald, take Herald, and Herald mid. That's 3 out the tower straight away. In the end, they do lose a member. It's not going to be the end of the world. Vulcan does die. 1 pick for Rogue, but again, the cross-map trade. We talked about 2 lanes they're playing on. Top and mid, that's going to be 2 tier 1 soon. Maybe Larssen can trade for this bot tier 1, but Perkz has been moving around the map beautifully.
Yeah, definitely the setup has been really clean there from Cloud9. You mentioned the multiple objective victories, and yet when you are in this position, you can't help but start to count these little pieces that you're throwing over. Kill here, kill there does add up as far as comeback potential. And if we refocus on the composition from Rogue, they do have some very high damage output outs for later in the game. If they can enact a split push, you've got your scaling Gwen, scaling Ryze, and Qiyana has plenty of burst damage to try to set up picks.
And we saw that against FPX, right? Perkz was the one who was really far ahead on the Ryze. He could match absolutely anyone. The problem is he was over pushing sides, getting collapsed on while his team wasn't on the map to actually do anything. This time around, instead of forcing a bot tier 2 or trying to dive Larssen, push out bot bases, moves mid. He's covering plays that C9 could lose out on while they make plays on the other side of the map, instead of playing as an individual. Certainly what you want to see, again, development coming into week 2. Because remember, this is not the week 2 of old where you have an actual week to prepare. They've had 24, 48 hours to find their footing, and to immediately play an elimination game as your first game of the day is incredibly difficult.
As a North American fan for every year of competitive play, I'm happy to hear that this is not the week 2 of old, because that has never gone well for us.
Can I just say, C9 is playing beautifully, right? No one's top, they're dropping top side, they pushed in mid, moved bot, this is a tier 2. Now they can move back to mid and take the tier 1 mid. Like, they're playing on 2 lanes so well, whereas look at top side for Rogue. They just pushed in a wave. That's all C9 have lost.
Yeah, they've done such a good job this game of snowballing off of that early lead. And again, as we've set up so many times, with moving immediately back out onto the map to the other side to then set up your next objective. And then they're able to chain these, pushing out the wave, rotating over so that they can keep pressure on multiple lanes.
And the thing is, at this stage of the game, even if Cloud9 don't play flawlessly, they're so far ahead that they're going to find so much leeway in plays. And I expect them to play well, don't get me wrong, but Perkz is already 2 items, it's 18 minutes. You know what I mean? He can make a mistake and still probably win a 2v1. The same might even be true for Blaber. Already completing the Mythic, already completing the Zhonya's. It's going to be so hard for anyone on the side of Rogue to find these picks or get these big shutdowns.
Especially when you're kind of face-checking with 3 melee champs and 2 short-range champs into Lillia, Leona, MF. It's going to hurt.
The thing is for Cloud9 too, today they have to remain so focused, not just through the end of this game, but then they match up versus FPX right after it as well, and will need to continue to win games, continue to play cleanly through all stages if they want to make that miracle comeback.
Yeah, definitely. This is the first step to a miracle to get that comeback, like you said. And Fudge was pushing in top there. You can see Trymbi moving up, Inspire moving up. He obviously started to back off Fudge, but he needs to not get caught here because they're playing bot side. He's playing with fire a bit here, trying to take away his own Braum. But look at bot push for Perkz. Drake's coming up soon. Mid tower should be a free objective for them. His job here is just to use his ult on this wave, maybe just QR it and make sure Rogue can't push.
Rogue not even feeling confident enough to go for a dive or try to force there. Of course, creeps quickly deleted, and now it's just going to be pretty much a free dragon. Rogue trying to contest that feels like it just would not be a winning proposition. Is now mid lane is also opened up on top of the dragon. We talked about slightly unfavorable trades being Cloud9's goal, even trades being Rogue's goal, but now it just feels like everything is hugely favored in Cloud9.
Well, yeah, and the problem for Rogue here is that since Cloud9 have the advantage, they get to decide which side of the map they want to control, and the objective timers are desynced. Dragon is up. There's nothing on the top side for Rogue to get, so there's nothing for you to try and force a trade on. You can see at tower, all Fudge has to do on Graves, you know, one of the reasons it's so highly prized, very versatile, wave clear is there, and Cloud9 don't have to overcommit any resources to pick up Dragon number 2, I mean, because it would be so crazy for Rogue to try and walk through all of the enemy vision.
Yeah, definitely. The game's in C9's hands now. We've said that before against FPX and Rogue. The only real way you can think of a comeback is doing what FPX did. You know, Ryze ult the side lane when Perkz is pushing up with odoamne there and look for the 1v2. Like you said, Drakos, maybe there's a chance he can win that 1v2. Maybe there's a chance Fudge can TP in. C9 just needs to control the top side of the map right now, and it's all about Rogue just being reactive.
And one of the critical things for Cloud9 to keep in mind as they're trying to push in these waves and then set up their control around the Baron side of the map, now that Dragon is down and Baron is up, you have to move your vision there first. Because if Rogue are able to push out on the side and then get one of those picks, you know, Qiyana burst damage and plenty of setup there, that's where the gold starts to leak away and those comeback options start to grow. As you can see, good toggle there by the observers. Cloud9 have done just that. They're moving all of their vision over to the red quadrant behind the Baron, trying to deny Rogue any of these opportunities.
Love the slow, controlled setup. Again, Cloud9 don't need to risk anything here, so playing it out diligently, so crucial to make sure they can close it. Because again, for Rogue, you're waiting for that mistake. You're waiting maybe for too many people to group in a Dragon Pit or a Baron Pit, so Inspire can get that perfect ulti. We've seen a lot of games where it's come down to maybe disrespecting some of these big AoE teamfight ultimates that can be the game changer. But that said, hyperscaling was one of the things we brought up initially. Feels hard to really sell it at this point when the Irelia is building towards Wit's End already, 3rd item, but there is always a world where Ryze, yes, short range, Gwen, yes, short range, but can be monsters that can take over these skirmishes or fights.
Yeah, definitely. C9 just trying to push Rogue out of the top side for now. The problem they have, C9, is their Baron is not that quick and there's not that many people to tank it, right? So if they just commit to a full Baron, it's very hard to stop Rogue from entering because they don't have as much turn unless they have Leona kind of out of the pit. But then you might struggle. So Rogue are starting to build towards these 2 items. The problem is they're losing all 3 lanes. C9 just need to not overextend for a tier 2 and look for some kind of random 5-man siege.
That turn is exactly what I'm looking at, because you mentioned the Leona and the Lillia, and one of the big things for late game Lillia that I always like to do is try and set up your wards so that you have long corridors to throw the seeds down. The Swirl Seed has a decently low cooldown now. That was one of the buffs to the champion. So towards late game, you just kind of go fishing and see if you can tag somebody to set up one of your you know, ultimate combos.
Go fishing.
Exactly. You go fishing with your seeds. If you tag somebody,
oh, we got a bite.
You put them to sleep, and Misfortune ults over while everybody else collapses. All of that damage and the long range of Leona ultimate does mean you can reel that fish in.
As long as it's not a 10-man sleep.
Exactly. You have to have the follow-up.
Oh, Inspired! Oh, Inspired right to the wall. That's going to be 3 members locked up. Instant wombo combo. Vulcan going to get shredded down, but Zven on the backside. Huge damage back. That Braum was useless. Larssen, can they turn it back though? Fudge now in the midst of the fight. So much healing, so much sustain, but Rogue finally finding some kind of opportunity. Odoamne will be sacrificed, but it's something positive for Rogue.
Oh, Inspired found one window of opportunity in their own vision for a 3-man ult. The problem was the Draven ult didn't connect as much because of the stopwatches. The Braum follow-up was a slightly bit too late, and then Zven just took over that fight.
Yep, you can see it in Rogue's eyes. They're just waiting for some opportunity to jump on for a comeback. And so they take one of the risky plays to try and find this pick. But Cloud9, huge victory here. Very good punish. You see the flashes over to disengage there, and they're able to turn around. Reward is a Baron, which pushes ahead, the way that they can end this game so quickly.
Yeah, and as we see in the new Axe Effect replay, Inspire just pulls the trigger instantly. Stopwatch comes out from Blaber though, and then Zven on the backline. Yes, Trymbi has to stop the barrier up, but it just eventually runs out of time. He stopwatches, Hans is against Perkz. He has to flash out. Odoamne TP's in, but there's really not much he can do here to save the fight. He's won before, and he ends up falling too.
Yeah, the Irelia, there's a reason why you kept on bringing up every kill that went to the Irelia on in the early game. She gets so tanky later on that you can zone these entire team fights. Gets to split, basically, the lines of Rogue and break up that combo. You said forcing the flash there out of Hans, and since they burst down Inspired after his ultimate, no more damage left.
And it's so sad for Rogue, because you feel like now that the Baron has gone over to C9, that was maybe your one window of opportunity to find a pick before this game was well and truly out of your hands, and now it is firmly, if it wasn't already, in control of C9. 9K gold lead, double Dragon.
Sales of Hopium are skyrocketing, Drakos. You better buy some quick because that's right.
Invest in C9. This is the time. Buy low, sell high, folks. That's what it is. C9 were low coming into the day, and C9 fans certainly feeling good right now.
Now they're high?
Yeah, now they're definitely high. Rogue fans feeling low, but now maybe a pick. Fudge caught off guard. Unbreakable already used, though. Means Zven again can just set up his ultimate and murder everybody. Perkz on the backside. Cloud9 aren't messing around. They don't want to slow siege. They want to absolutely throttle Rogue. It's just running them down. Ansama, no room to maneuver. Perkz gonna let him go, but it's out into enemy territory. Has to walk away from his own base just to get in on this one. And Cloud9, complete dominance from the level 1, snowballing it cleanly through, and now the Baron feels like the final nail in the coffin.
This keeps the group interesting, my friends. Cloud9 with one of the necessary wins here.
Yeah, Rogue had no wave clear, so they tried to get the fight. C9 just dived them. They take the win. 25-minute win for C9 over Rogue. They're looking for some KDA here, just trying to get some damage dealt, farm some numbers before they close out the game. That's a massive win for C9. Backs against the wall, you lose, you're out, they win the game. But now they still got a long road ahead of them.
And I think we have to take a second now to appreciate everything that C9 did well in that game, because in 5 minutes, the only thing they're going to get to think about is FPX, the opponent that stands in front of them. So for now, what we can say is Rogue, they made a mistake at level 1. Cloud9 absolutely outplayed, punished, moved across the map. Yes, Blaber did die to a tower, but let me tell you, Rogue died a lot more in that one.
Exactly, and that was one of the few, if only your real big kind of egregious errors that they made. One of the main things I was looking at with the critical eye coming into the day to have hope for that miracle run for Cloud9 was specifically coordination on their mid and late game plays. And that control as far as the vision game and not overreaching too far, then immediately collapsing and turning around these fights is exactly what you need to see if they're going to come back today.
Yeah, their communication looked great from start to finish.
Much better than the early.
Much better, right? Yeah, they get ahead, they snowball the lead perfectly. Yes, Rogue did the fight, they got Baron, and then they just went for the dives, but the mid game was just phenomenal. The early game as well, moving around the map.
It's a good sign when the Oopsie is not diving over the red wall and getting double killed immediately, but the Oopsie is dying to tower for no money and then hard stomp.
And then a quick death timer. Back up the top side.
They didn't even touch him.
It was a confidence play. He was just flexing. It's like emo BM, no, dying to tower BM. That's the new meta. As we go